What's up guys, Joey here from Awesome Cameras. Got something new for you today. Been wanting to try this for a while. This is ideally a new series that I'm gonna call On a Roll. Basically what I'm gonna do is go through an entire roll of photos, start to finish, show you every photo, and just kind of talk about it. And the way I see it, there's three things I kind of want to cover in this series. Some episodes might be a little more heavy on one than the other, but the three things are gear, so the camera and the film. I'll be talking about those, because that's what we do here. Next would be just kind of photography basics, composition type stuff, lighting, maybe some settings of the camera, that type of stuff. Very photo 101 or just like basic photo knowledge. And third would be just the story behind the photo. Where was I? Was there something interesting going on behind the scenes, or was there a certain reason I took that photo? And this will vary. Sometimes it'll be, a camera that I just had in my glove box for a couple weeks, or a specific photo shoot where I'm shooting one specific thing on that roll of photos. But basically I just wanted to do this and share a whole roll of photos, and ideally down the line I would also love to bring in other photographers and make it sort of an interview show where I talk back and forth with them as we go over a roll of their photos. If you have any other ideas on ways to improve this series, or maybe you want to suggest a photographer I should have on, leave that in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. All right, to set up this roll of photos, this was a few months back. I drove from Southern California to Ketchikan, Alaska. My cousin was moving there and he asked me to drive his car up. And so I basically had a road trip where my gas, my food, and my hotels were paid for. I just really could not turn that down. It was awesome. This specific roll I shot on a Yashica T4, and these photos on this roll were all between Squamish, British Columbia, and along the drive. And then the last few photos are actually in Ketchikan, Alaska. And this was my Yashica T4. It was just kind of my whatever snapshot camera, and the film I was using is Konica SRG 160, which I bought in bulk. I've bought a couple of them, 100-foot rolls, and I bulk load it into 35mm rolls for use in the camera. The problem with that is there's no DX coding. I have read that the Yashica T4 defaults to 100, which is pretty good. It's a 160 ISO film, but it's 20 years expired. I usually, in a manually set camera, I'll set the ISO to about 80, and I've been getting really good results around there. Decided to try it in this. I feel like exposure might have been off on some of these a little bit. I would have liked them to be a little brighter, but hey, expired film, no DX coding in a camera that needs DX coding to set the ISO. I think the results came out pretty good. All right, let's get into it. First photo here, this is just outside of Squamish, BC. There's a little swimming hole called Brom Lake, and it was a really hot day. It was like 85 degrees probably, and I was visiting a friend in Squamish, and she suggested we go swimming, and I wasn't gonna turn that down, especially as you can tell in a beautiful setting like this. If you look at the bottom of this photo, you'll see the little orangey pink blur light leak. That's a result of the bulk loading. It'll generally, at the beginning and end of the roll, you'll get a light leak. Just the nature of the loader. I don't usually do it in complete darkness. You can, I just don't. I kind of like having a light leak at the beginning and end, personally. It just gives you that little, happy accident, if you will. One thing I also try to do because of that is snap the same photo, usually twice at the beginning of the roll, just so I have one with the light leaks, one without. Basically what I was trying to do here, there was a tree in the foreground, nice little framing of the lake in the background with the paddle boarders out there and a kayaker. Looks like on this one, the focus grabbed on the tree branch there. Would have liked for those to be out of focus, but with a point and shoot, that's what you get. Here's another shot, same lake, a couple girls sitting on the log. I actually went and did a really awesome cannonball off that log shortly after taking this photo. This is my friend's dog. His name is Henry. Of course, as animals do, they know right when you're gonna take the photo and they look away. So he was looking up at me and I tried to snap a photo, but he was not having it. But don't worry, I got him. Here's another one. This is Henry posing. looking up at his owner. This is my friend Silka, a photographer I used to work with a lot in Los Angeles, and she recently moved up to Squamish. She got a job up there and is living a pretty good life up there. It's very beautiful. I can't blame her. Another one of Henry, almost looking at the camera, a little closer, but I'm real happy with these as far as snapshots go of a little pup. From Squamish, I headed north up through Whistler. There's a highway that takes you through this beautiful mountain pass. And a few hours up the road, maybe closer to 5 or 6 hours up the road, I came to a lake called Duffy Lake. Super beautiful, just long lake along the highway. Probably went along for a few miles. And when I got to the end of it, there was all these trees that had flowed downstream in the lake and gotten caught at the end, making sort of a dam, getting stuck at the end of the lake. I had to stop and photograph it. Just the way they were laid out in this semicircle pattern along this narrow end of the lake really caught my eye. And you can't really tell from these photos, but these logs are huge. They're massive. I wish I had taken a photo of someone standing out on one of them, but these things have to be all, like the bigger ones are easily, 3 feet in diameter. I went and walked out them, and it's not like a narrow plank you're walking on. It's a big solid piece of wood. Got a shot of it vertical with a little sky in there. Also got a little sun flare in there. It looks like a little rainbow in the middle of the frame. And then I also wanted to shoot it where you can't see the sky at all. And this is probably my favorite one of those 3. You see all the dead trees here in the water, just all jammed up there. And then all the trees standing in the background. It really gives you an idea of how tall those things are. And I don't know what happens if those things just naturally fall into the lake. I'm guessing maybe over the winter, some snowpack or an avalanche pulls some down. But I just thought it was really cool and had to stop and photograph it. That's all I shot on this camera, I think, for the next 2 days, because this had to have been at least 2 days later, this next photo. And this is just outside of Prince Rupert, Canada, which is where I stayed the last night in Canada, and then from there I caught a ferry to Ketchikan. But this was kind of on the way in. I was getting into town early, had some time to kill, and saw signs for a lake called Diana Lake. So I just drove to check it out, as you do on a road trip, and here's what I found, this beautiful lake surrounded by trees, and there was a little bit of a dam. So I just took a few snapshots. This is walking out towards the dam. Again, with just the trees piled up on the dam. You don't see too much of that here in Southern California. The trees just don't get all that big. This is there were some sticks coming out of the water there. It looked neat to me. So I snapped a couple shots of that. I'm guessing they just didn't come out the way I was picturing it in my mind. But no big deal. That's why we do this. Trial and error. This was across the dam. They had this wooden plank walkway. I just thought it was really cool with the shadow in there, the leading lines going all the way to the far end. So I snapped a couple shots of this. There's one a little lower. I kind of like that better because it really fills the frame more with the fence and the walkway there. And then I tried one vertical, but I got my shadow in there. I guess I could crop it a little bit from the bottom if that really bothered me. Or maybe make it a square. If I cut it from the bottom and make it a square, that could be a really cool composition. Too bad I didn't have a medium format camera with me, 6x6. Could have taken a good photo of that. And then here's a wide shot shooting back the other way across the little dam and spillway there. Man, it was just so beautiful up here. I wish I could have stayed to explore a little longer, but I had to get into town. Here's another shot out the lake, a lower composition there, and a higher composition. So see, the first one I shot just dead center, and then I wanted to try a couple different compositions, see how they come out. Shot one lower, shot one higher where you see more sky, and I don't know, I think this one's my favorite with more sky in the photo. I feel like this photo could use a few more clouds, but I don't know, I'll take what I can get. Next up, just a sign, whatever. Thought it was a cool looking sign. I knew it was in the shadow and was really heavily backlit, so it is a little dark. You see the tree branches in the back are a little more exposed properly. So I tried one with a flash, and that one came out a lot better except for the flare on the sign. I don't know, just out getting some snapshots, looking around. So from there I headed into Prince Rupert, found a hotel to stay at for the night. This place I found was called Moby Dick Inn. There's this pretty big 4 or 5 story kind of hotel. The whole place, well, not the whole place, the elevator and entrance all smelled like fish. There's signs everywhere that say, please do not bring fish coolers into your room. They have a complimentary fish storage walk-in refrigerator that guests can store their fish that they've caught in, and that way the rooms don't all smell like fish, which I'd imagine was a problem at one point for the Moby Dick Inn. But yeah, so big fishing tourism destination up there. A lot of people coming through just to fish. I was not, and I was glad that they didn't have fish in the room. But the room I stayed in actually made me want to take some photographs. Here's one. The room was all blue. Blue carpet, blue drapes, blue walls, but everything was a different shade of blue, and it was so interesting. It's like, why not all one shade of blue? I don't know, just red chair. That was probably the only thing with a different color in the room. But you'll see here, the hallway entrance to the room, just all kinds of blue. The little thermostat on the wall there. I tried to take a couple shots here, get some little geometric shapes going. I really like this one with the light coming in from behind the drapes, that nice gradient coming off of that. And like the 2 different colors of blue on the wall. I don't know, just this one caught my eye. And then there was a couple more, let's see. Oh yeah, this one. So this one's probably my favorite. Just trying to figure out what's going on here. A wider angle, I wanted to include the little smoke detector on the ceiling there in one of these shots, different composition. I think I kind of liked it without better. And then another one here. Just this wall, I kind of want to go back there just to see what the other rooms look like. Maybe go stay 3 or 4 nights and ask to be in a different room every night. I feel like that could be fun. Or maybe stay there for a month and just stay in, 30 different rooms. Another shot of the red chair, just really stood out in this all blue room. All right, after leaving Prince Rupert, I caught a ferry to Ketchikan, Alaska, which is the next time I took the camera out. I went with my cousin and his family, and we just we spent a couple days. They moved into a new house. We spent a couple days helping them get situated, just runs to the hardware store, putting up blinds, just random stuff around the house you got to do when you move in, finding rugs, buying a couch, all that. But we spent one day just out driving around the island, and this is a place called Rotary Beach in just outside of Ketchikan, and it was just so beautiful. It was a nice, again, 80-degree day. It was during this heat wave they were having. That's all you heard around town was, oh, when's this heat gonna stop? We need to get some rain. But it was so great. You couldn't not take a photo of this. It was just so beautiful, and the water was so blue, just that neon crystal blue. Here's a vertical. Looks like someone maybe was getting ready to have a little campfire going down there. And here's the little inlet, lake, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you call that, at Rotary Beach. Just a little swimming hole that kind of fills and empties with the tide. And there's some kids swimming in it. Thought it was worth taking a photo. Here's the rocks just beyond that. There's some tide pools, and had some fun looking around that with my cousin's daughter. She's about 4. So she was all about it. Another one, and let's see. Here's my cousin and his daughter cruising on the rocks. My cousin Steve and his daughter Claire. There's one with her looking at the camera. I think that's a great photo of the 2 of them. Nice little snapshot on the tide pools. I love the texture of those rocks though, how they're just kind of diagonal. That diagonal pattern to them and the way that they've worn into these tide pools are so cool. And there's Claire getting posy for a photo, and that just about ends this roll. I got one more with the crazy light leak of them kind of standing there at the tide pools. Looks like Claire's bent down picking something up. So you always get something at the end. You're not going to know what's going to happen with these, which I kind of enjoy. So there you have it, guys. That's a whole roll. I'm calling it On a Roll. On a Roll, episode 1. Did you guys like this? Let me know what you thought. I got a few more of these planned coming in soon, and I'd love to start getting other photographers in on it. Again, leave in the comments if there's anything you think could improve this video, this format of video. And maybe subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. It would be much appreciated. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.